In the history of Formula One, there is one team that stands head and shoulders above the rest: the Ferrari F1 team. Synonymous with longevity and success, the Ferrari team have amassed an unparalleled record of race wins and championships over the years. But what is the history behind this legendary team, and how did they become the most successful team in the history of the sport? Stay tuned to find out. Today, Ferrari remains the most successful team in the history of F1, with 242 wins and 31 titles to their name, with a legion of passionate fans who follow the team religiously. In fact, Ferrari are the only team to have raced in every single edition of Formula One, and it all started with a man who wanted to simply develop race cars: Enzo Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari's love affair with racing began at the tender age of 10 when he attended the Coppa Fiorio, a historic racing event that would set him on a path to greatness. Little did he know that this event would ignite a passion that would shape the course of automobile history forever. He began racing in 1919, but his big break came in 1920 at Alfa Romeo. He joined the car brand as a Grand Prix driver and eventually won his first race in 1923. More success followed in 1924, where he won 3 races. However, he was affected by the deaths of Ugo Savocci in 1923 and Antonio Ascari in 1925. After that, he did carry on racing, but his heart wasn't really in it. Yet, the racing bug had bitten him, and he was developing an interest in running a team of his own. Following the birth of his son Alfredo Dino in 1932, Enzo decided to retire and focus instead on the management and development of the factory Alfa Race cars, eventually building up a race team of superstar drivers, including Giuseppe Campari and Tazio Nuvolari. This team was called Scuderia Ferrari and acted as a racing division for Alfa Romeo, with Scuderia Ferrari morphing into Alfa's racing team, Alfa Corsa, in 1938. Enzo Ferrari controversially left the team just a year later and founded his own company, Auto Avio Costruzioni. He built his first sports car and competed against his former employer. The sports car was called the Auto Avio Costruzioni 815, but it didn't feature Enzo's name or the prancing horse emblem that is now associated with Ferrari. The car was made at the request of Alberto Ascari, who participated in the famous Mille Miglia race in 1940. 3 years later, Enzo moved his workshops from Modena to nearby Maranello, where the team is still based today. Enzo decided to start making cars bearing his name and founded Ferrari Spa in 1947. This move allowed Enzo to take greater control over his racing cars development and become a major player in the world of sports car racing. Enzo designed what was to become the first Ferrari, the 125S, in 1947. In the same year, the 125S had its first racing victory in the Rome Grand Prix. Enzo's Ferrari's team began to feature the iconic prancing horse emblem during this period, but have you ever wondered how he came up with such a striking symbol? Well, it turns out that the emblem had been created and sported by Italian fighter plane pilot Francesco Baracca. During World War I, Baracca's mother gave Enzo a necklace with the prancing horse on it prior to takeoff. Baracca was shot down and killed by an Austrian aeroplane in 1918. In memory of his death, Enzo used the prancing horse to create the emblem that would become the world-famous Ferrari shield. In the early days of Scuderia Ferrari, Enzo was the driving force behind the team's success. He was the one who scouted out talented drivers, who negotiated sponsorship deals and made the tough decisions about which races to enter and which to skip. But Enzo was more than just a team manager. He was a mentor and a father figure to his drivers who he pushed to be their best both on and off the track. He was a strategist who would spend hours poring over maps and studying his competitors in order to find an edge. And he was a visionary who saw the potential of motorsport not just as a spectacle, but as a laboratory for innovation and engineering. Now, Enzo's leadership style was not always easy. He was known for being demanding, exacting, and occasionally ruthless. But his drivers respected him, and they knew that he was always striving for the same goal they were: to win. In the early years of Scuderia Ferrari, Enzo faced many challenges. The team was often underfunded and understaffed and faced stiff competition from larger, better funded rivals. But Enzo was undaunted. He knew that success would not come easily, but he was determined to make it happen. Ferrari's history-defining moment came in 1950, when the World Drivers' Championship was first contested, and Ferrari registered for the newly formed tournament, which was the predecessor to what is known as Formula One. However, the team missed the opening race at Silverstone, which was won by Alfa Romeo. But Ferrari wasn't about to sit on the sidelines for long. The team made its F1 debut at the Monaco Grand Prix that same year, and they did so with a bang. The three drivers behind the wheel of the Ferrari 125 were none other than Alberto Ascari, Raymond Sommer and Gigi Villoresi, three of the most talented drivers of the time. Despite their strong lineup, Ferrari struggled to find their footing in the opening season of F1. They frequently switched cars and experimented with different designs in an effort to gain an edge over their rivals. It wasn't until the following year that Ferrari finally tasted victory in F1 thanks to the legendary driver José Froilán González. The 1951 British Grand Prix was a turning point for the team as they broke Alfa Romeo's 11-race winning streak and established themselves as a serious contender in the sport. In 1952, the team claimed their first Drivers' Championship with the legendary Alberto Ascari at the wheel. The following year, Ascari won his second title, cementing Ferrari's status as a major force in the sport. In 1961, Ferrari claimed their first Constructors' Championship, further solidifying their place in the history of the sport. But it wasn't just about winning for Enzo Ferrari, it was about pushing the boundaries of what was possible both on and off the track. Ferrari's engineers and designers were constantly experimenting with new technologies and materials, searching for ways to gain an edge over their rivals. The team's iconic red cars, emblazoned with the prancing horse emblem, became synonymous with Italian style and automotive excellence. Fans and enthusiasts around the world eagerly awaited each new release from Ferrari's workshops, and the brand's name became a symbol of speed, power, and innovation. The 1960s saw Ferrari go head-to-head with British-based teams. Despite this, Ferrari managed to secure 2 Constructors' titles and 6 Drivers' Championships by the end of the decade, a testament to their grit and determination. The 1970s brought significant changes to the world of F1, with the rise of Lotus, McLaren, and engine provider Ford. But Ferrari adapted to the changing landscape and continued their winning ways, clinching 6 titles in the decade. However, the 1980s and 1990s proved to be a tough period for Ferrari, as McLaren and Williams dominated the sport, leaving Ferrari in their wake. It was a period of drought for the team, as they struggled to keep up with the competition. The biggest shock came in 1988 when Enzo Ferrari himself passed away. He died on August 14, 1988, but the cause of death remains unknown. The Ferrari team had to wait for nearly 2 decades to get back on top. In 1996, Ferrari struck gold. They managed to lure rising superstar Michael Schumacher from Benetton, and with him, Benetton technical chief Ross Brawn, to join a team led by Jean Todt. The move proved to be a game changer for Ferrari, as they secured 6 consecutive Constructors' titles from 1994 to 2004, with Schumacher winning the Drivers' Championship in all but one of those seasons. After a brief pause in their title-winning run thanks to Fernando Alonso and Renault, Ferrari bounced back with the arrival of Kimi Räikkönen, clinching another championship double in 2007. Felipe Massa came agonizingly close to winning the Drivers' Championship in 2008, missing out by just 1 point. In the mid-2010s, Ferrari experienced a period of struggle and frustration on the Formula One circuit. Despite having a talented driver lineup, the team struggled to compete with Mercedes and Red Bull, who consistently outpaced them on the track. Part of the problem was the lack of consistency in the team's leadership and technical staff. They went through several changes in personnel during this time, which made it difficult to establish a clear direction and strategy for the team. Ferrari's struggles were compounded by some missteps in their car design, particularly in the area of engine performance. They were unable to match the power and efficiency of their rivals, which put them at a significant disadvantage on the track. But despite these challenges, Ferrari remained determined to return to winning form. In 2015, they brought in a new team principal, Maurizio Arrivabene, and a new technical director, James Allison, to help turn things around. The changes began to pay off in the following years as Ferrari started to make steady progress toward the front of the grid. They had some impressive wins, including a dominant victory at the 2017 Monaco Grand Prix, and they were competitive in the championship fight with Mercedes. However, Ferrari's progress was somewhat derailed in 2019 when they experienced another setback in the form of a technical directive from the FIA regarding their engine design. This led to a dip in performance for the team, and they were unable to mount a serious challenge for the championship that year. Since then, Ferrari has been working hard to get back to winning form. They've changed their technical staff and focused on improving their car design and engine performance. While they're yet to return to their dominant form of the past, there are signs that Ferrari is on the right track. They put in some impressive performances during the 2022 season. However, a series of strategic errors and reliability issues prevented them from challenging Red Bull for both the drivers' and constructors' titles. Despite these setbacks, Ferrari remains determined to improve its car and compete with the top teams in the sport. And with the likes of Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz Jr. at the wheel, Ferrari fans remain hopeful that their beloved prancing horse will once again rise to the top and claim their rightful place in the pantheon of F1 greats. So, what are your thoughts on this? Do you believe that Ferrari will be able to dominate the F1 grid in 2023 just as it did in the past? Let us know in the comments down below.